What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. I'm your host, Mangone. I'm here with Hoop, here with AP. We are talking some NBA tonight. We got a nice little 6-game slate, and we got obviously news that we'll be waiting on. I'm sure it'll be a good show. It'll be fun to break it all down. But before we do that, let's talk about some PGA. You guys were talking before the show. Let's go to you first, Hoop. How are the PGA streets going, and are you pumped for the NBA slate tonight?
PGA, it's going well. I mean, we've been off to a pretty hot start here at Run Pure Sports with the PGA content. I did pick Cameron Tringale to win this week, and he is, 6 over. He's in 155th place, so that is not good. However, some of our key guys are starting out pretty good. There's a big group, 6 under, 5 under, 4 under, 3 under, so I have a feeling that we'll be back in the winner's circle here on Sunday. NBA, it was shaping up to be a relatively tough slate. We didn't have a ton of value, and then get the big news that DeJounte Murray is going to miss tonight. That kind of opens up everything on the slate and makes it pretty easy to build teams tonight. So it's solid. I like 5, 6, 7 game slate. So this kind of fits in there. Now we got the big injury news and pick some winners here.
Yeah, I like 5 and 6 gamers, but I don't know how much I like 5 and 6 gamers that involve Popovich and Ty Lue. That's what it feels like right now. So we'll see how it shakes out. I'm hoping I don't have to roster too many of those guys, but we'll have to see. Should be a good slate. AP, we'll go over to you. How are the PGA streets? And are you ready for this NBA slate tonight?
Yeah, PGA is back. I mean, if I looked at chat a couple hours ago, Cantlay was dead. Now it looks like Cantlay is going to lap the field. The dude is making birdies like crazy. And that's how it goes in the PGA streets. So you can't tilt early. Like news lately in the NBA has been crazy. Yesterday, it was like constantly pulling the heat chart back up, making changes because it was like everyone kept getting ruled out. Like people that, like I thought Jokic was going to play. And obviously he didn't play. And so it was just a lot of adjustments. So, man, you got to be able to wait for the news. I think things could be similar tonight, except for I'll just go out and say De'Aaron Fox is not going to play. This is like the 7th game in a row where he comes in questionable. And I don't think they're going to play him. So that's my early call of the day that Fox is definitely not going to play, but we'll see.
The one interesting with Fox last night is he was randomly active for a second and then he didn't play. So I thought that was interesting, but
maybe he plays then.
Yeah, I don't know if that was an error on maybe someone's part or something, but he didn't play. I'm with you. I don't think he plays. It just doesn't make sense for him to. But we'll obviously break down all that injury news. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Before we do that, I want to talk about a couple things, talk about a couple of marketing points here that we got. I do want to talk about the Keg live show. We're getting to the weekend and Keg always crushes it on the live show. It's only $40 a month. You got the NASCAR coming up, MMA, NFL playoffs, of course. The Super Bowl will be big. I'm sure we'll have tons of winners over on the bet side for that, and NBA as well. Also want to talk about the SaberSim package that we have. It's only $150 a month for all access for the Run Pure Sports subscribers and the SaberSim projections and optimizer as well. Normally $170. So you have to get in on that. And Hoop, I mean, why wouldn't you get in on it, right? I mean, we have every single sport over here. It's all for one price. Tell the people a little bit why they should sign up for Run Pure as well.
Yeah, I mean the combo, the Run Pure combo and the Saber combo, I mean, it just kind of fits. I mean, we specialize in digging into slates, going beyond the numbers, coming up with the plays, and providing our members, the plays, the core plays, the cash chart plays, the tier plays. And then, with SaberSim, those plays are right in there. So it's very easy to take the Run Pure content and plug them right into your lineups, whether you're building 150 or 75 or 20 teams. SaberSim has the program that builds your teams in correlation with the contest that you've entered on any given night. So it's a good match, the Run Pure content and the SaberSim content. We're releasing some of those videos that kind of breaks down the actual process of going through and building teams on SaberSim, some of the unique rules and tools and things that can be used well building teams on SaberSim. So it's a deal too. If you get Saber through us, you're saving yourself about $30-$40 total when you combine the packages. So it's a good time to sign up. I mean, we have NBA going, PGA going, like you said, NASCAR starting up pretty soon. We have UFC this weekend, and I think Title said for 8 straight weeks. So 8 straight weeks of UFC. That's fun to MME for. So a lot of sports going on right now. A good time to become a member at Run Pure Sports and pair up that membership with a SaberSim combo pack.
Yeah, and AP, I believe we're going to have is it a premium show? You made the announcement today, I believe, for Thursdays. You're going to be doing some like lunch hours where you can go through some SaberSim stuff with the Saber guys. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about that? Because if you haven't used SaberSim before, we already have videos on the site that you can check out. So if you're having trouble finding them, we'll try and point you in that right direction. They're on the Past Shows channel. And then tell them a little bit about what you're going to do with that show, because it sounds like a great way to like learn SaberSim a little bit better, AP.
Yeah, so Jordan, one of the SaberSim pros, him and I are gonna host a weekly lunch hour or office hours show is what they call it. Our goal, one of the other goals too, is I want to work in other coordinators, learn about their process using SaberSim, etc. But the purpose of the show is just for the members. So send me questions throughout the week or show up and ask some questions during the show and we'll answer them. But if you're not able to watch the show at 1:00 on Thursdays, shoot me a DM, send me a question, and I'll make note of it and we'll make sure to get it answered. But we're all just trying to get better using that technology and that tool. And we want to make sure that we're helping all the members as well. So expect that show ongoing for members moving forward.
Yep, and we got Stephen Coy in the chat. He says the tutorial video is so incredibly helpful, and he's already checked that out. I saw some conversations about that. And if you can't watch it on Thursday, it's okay. Watch it on Friday, watch it on Saturday, watch it any day. You can always go back and watch these videos. It's evergreen content, so to help you out and teach you some stuff and learn about some of our processes, and it's really valuable. Also, want to mention, guys, like and subscribe to the video. That helps us out a ton. We'll have tons of NFL content coming up this week, so subscribe to the channel to get notified when we go live. Hit that red button below my mug, and then also hit the like as well so we can get those plays of the days at the end of the show. Last thing I want to mention, we had a couple nice wins over there in the Discord chat. We had Club Bands, who his name in the Discord chat is Sweet Boy. He won a nice FanDuel live final seat, so congrats to him for hitting that. That's awesome. I'm sure we got some other members there. I know Hoop, I think you got a seat there, so I'm sure you'll be able to meet up with them. So if you are a member, Hoop, right? Like you've been to a live final, you want the people to hang out. So feel free to come say hi to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is FanDuel and DraftKings plan their events on the exact same weekend. So FanDuel is on Friday and the DK one is on Saturday. So that's kind of a bummer. So I'm still trying to decide because I have a seat to each. But whichever one I end up going to, kind of leaning DraftKings at this point, make sure if you're a member or even, a person that watches the YouTube shows, to hit me up. I'll have some gear with me, hats, shirts, and all that to give away to people at the event. So make sure to hit me up if you're going there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a fun time. Be sure to, if you qualify, hang out with the crew, get the Run Pure gear on, and root on the winners with everyone. Also, Yuri Thomas won $35K in NBA. So congrats to him on that. And we can dive in now. Finally, we can talk about this NBA slate. And there was one big thing that happened with this slate. Because of weather, the Spurs and Heat game got moved up. So we got 2 games starting at that 7:00 time. Then we got 2 starting at 7:30. And then we get a really long gap to the last 2 games, 2 10:00 games. So that helps for some flexibility as well. You don't just have one on an island. But let's break these games down and let's talk about it. Let's go over to the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Detroit Pistons, and we'll go over to you, Hoop. 230 total for a Pistons game. I wasn't going right into it. I wasn't going to say, oh, yeah,
come on, just come on. Just
we don't have to do that.
Come on.
The surprising thing, Hoop, is do you ever see the Pistons with a 230 total? I mean, no. I opened that up and was shocked. And the reason isn't because of the Pistons. It's because of the Timberwolves. They're not playing as much defense. They're playing at a faster pace. And this is not the greatest slate in the world. This is not one of those that, we have some value plays, but I think you can mix and match some guys. And maybe the the Pistons are some guys you can mix throughout your lineups. The problem is they've gotten a little bit healthier. That's the one thing that's a little concerning here. And then on the Timberwolves side, Pat Beverly's only 4'8". You got D'Angelo Russell, who should be back. And then Ian Edwards, his just range of outcomes are just very frustrating. I mean, he could have a monster game, but he can also bury your lineups. So what are you doing here with these guys? Because this feels like a game. You see the 230 total and you say, I clearly want to roster guys in it, but it feels a little more difficult to get these guys throughout your lineup too.
Yeah, the Pistons side, it's getting more complicated. And, obviously we have Jeremy Grant back for the Pistons, which really makes it difficult to go to Pistons guys here. That takes a lot away from everyone and Cade Cunningham. They did not look good last game, these guys. So I think the Pistons, even though it's a 6-game slate, fine situation to avoid. I mean, we have the Spurs now without DeJounte Murray. We're going to want Spurs in our lineups, probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 Spurs guys, depending on the starting lineup. So I don't think you have to go to this Pistons side. The Timberwolves side, I have a lot of interest. Karl Anthony Towns on this slate, I think, is a very strong option at 10K. They're projected to score about 120 points. Like you said, this is 230 total. This is a big total. The biggest on the slate, right? 230. Yeah, the biggest total on the slate. They're playing at a fast pace. They're not playing much defense. That's what you want. Towns has been playing well. I mean, at least 50 fantasy points in 4 out of 5 games. Had a 69 fantasy point game. Kind of rounding into form here a little bit. Anthony Edwards, I think, is a guy that if you full MME every slate, you just get some exposure to him. You're going to get some of these ceiling games where it just goes off, and you're going to get some stinkers. He's just one of these guys that has a wide range of outcomes, like you said, but the ceiling is there for a big game. Kind of prefer him, obviously, if one of Russell or Towns is out. With all of them in today, just some exposure, I'd say, to Anthony Edwards. D'Angelo Russell, not much interest for me. Patrick Beverly, 4'8". I don't know. I mean, he came back and we played 15 minutes last game. I'm not super excited about him. They have a lot of guards coming off the bench. My favorite play by far in this game, Karl Anthony Towns, followed by Anthony Edwards more in tournaments. But I do like Towns quite a bit here on the slate.
Yeah, I'm still torn on what to do with him because also we could get like a ton of news that could change stuff. And this feels like that slate the other day where there's some value plays. We might get more value. And then like the spend ups, like they're just not great. Like Curry's up at the top. I think that's the Tuesday slate that I'm referring to, either Tuesday or Monday. Hoop, do you remember which day I'm talking about?
It was Tuesday. I mean, there was like we had Curry, we had like Ja Morant, right? We had maybe Trae Young was questionable, I believe.
Yeah, Butler was a spend up. Like Tatum and Brown, I think, were there too. But
yeah, it was Tuesday night. Yeah, this slate to me very, very similar to that slate.
Yep, totally agree. AP, do you agree? It's kind of similar to that Tuesday slate. It kind of feels like it looking at it. And then what do you think of this game? Because I'm struggling to actually like a lot of these guys in this game. It feels tough to figure out who to roster, but maybe you have a better read on that. So what are you doing with the Pistons and the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I think it's going to come, Cade Cunningham, obviously, if he gets ruled out, we want to see what the starting lineup looks like. But, man, Hoop, your Pistons, Dwayne Casey, tough to trust. Like, sometimes I like to do what our boy DC does, look at some of the advanced metrics and everything. And, like, the two guys on this team that are playing better, when you look at all the advanced stuff, plus, minus, whatever, are two guys that come off the bench. Kelly Olynyk, one, he of the guys, that get somewhat decent minutes when they're in. He actually owns the best plus minus, followed up by Trey Lyles. Two guys that Casey just like hates to play. I don't get it. Trey Lyles has been good, but he rarely ever gets like 25, 26 minutes. But when he's in there, he's productive and he's good on both ends of the court. So I don't understand it. You could play Jeremy Grant if Cade's out. Fair price tag, big total here. I feel like one or two of these guys could randomly go off, but it's like a guessing game. So if you're playing 150, then yeah, I do think you want some exposure, but I would consider setting some rules and limiting, how many Pistons that you're going to have into your lineups here. Like Kelly Olynyk could randomly go off, but if he goes off, like Sadiq Bey or some of these other guys aren't going to go off. So really difficult spot. it's definitely fine to avoid, like you guys said. I don't mind doing that at all. I'm going to wait to see what they do with Cade and then make some decisions here based on the starting lineup. And then the Wolves side too, like got to think that the Timberwolves, maybe they've been playing good basketball. If they blow them out, what we've seen when the second unit's playing really well, we've seen guys like Naz Reid get some extended run. Those minutes with a guy like him, if you're like, so there's one obvious value on the slate, and there's probably going to be more that come about. But if you think, like, if you're multi-entering and if you think there's some blowout risks in favor of the Wolves here, I wouldn't be surprised if the guy like Naz Reid, ended up getting there. I don't know if I'm going to go there. Like we saw last night with last night's slate, like how valuable it was waiting for news to hit in other games. So as it stands right now, I'm probably going to be limiting my exposure to this game, but it's really going to come down to Cade and then D'Lo on the Wolves side. I believe he's the other guy that's questionable before making any decisions. But I don't feel the need, much like you guys both said, to lock anyone in from this first game.
Yeah, and here's like the injury news for this game. So D-Russ is questionable. Beverly's questionable, but he played like the last game against the Nuggets and only played 15 minutes. So I'm assuming he plays, and he could have some type of minutes cap on him. It just depends if the game's competitive. Okogie, he's questionable. Palmero questionable, and then Cade and Josh Jackson both questionable. So we just got to wait and see what that news is going to be. Obviously, if a lot of these guys are out, that could definitely bump up the interest that we have in these guys. And this is a 7:00 game, so we'll get this right away. We should get this news kind of soon. So at least probably in the next 30 minutes, we'll get at least an update from some of the coaches of what's going on there. And if we do, we can break that all down. Guys, we got 411 watching. Please hit that like and subscribe to the channel. We have tons of NFL content coming up for you guys. And, you do not want to miss out on that. The Super Bowl content's going to be great. We'll have tons of Showdown stuff, obviously, because it's a Showdown slate. And you do not want to miss out on BigT's player pool and everything else that we got going on over here at Run Pure Sports for that. Let's move on over to the next game, though, and break that one down. It's the Heat and the Spurs, and this game got moved up, and it does seem like DeJounte Murray obviously going to be out, and Derek White is then going to be a really strong play because he's going to be running that guard spot. He's 6K, and then the center position, the boy that we like to roster all the time, Mr. Jakob Poeltl, he is out. You got no Landale as well. So it looks like we got Eubanks is going to be someone that's going to be very popular tonight. He's 3.3K. Is he the kind of chalk you want to eat tonight, Hoop, at 3.3K? He seems like a good option. And then on the opposite side, those Heat, they got Kyle Lowry back. So it's a little bit of a dicier situation there, getting a little more crowded, and those prices are up. So what are you doing here with the Spurs value and the Heat run backs?
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs side, it's easy. I mean, you're going to want Spurs tonight, and you're going to want a lot of them. I mean, their two main contributors, obviously, DeJounte Murray's having a phenomenal season out, and then Jakob Poeltl probably was their second most productive fantasy guy out as well, and then that Landale guy as well. So there is a lot of guys out, a lot of usage to fill. First guy you look to for sure, Derek White, really good play. He's going to be the primary ball handler here. Certainly can get it done. 6K on DK. He'll be wildly popular. Eubanks, 3.3K. You probably eat the chalk here. I mean, we don't have a ton of full punt options on the slate. He's 3.3K. He opens everything up. Certainly in play. Then you take a look at some of these secondary guys. Keldon Johnson, I really like at 5.7K. I mean, in terms of the offense here, it's going to be Derek White 1, probably Keldon Johnson 2 with the starting lineup. Lonnie Walker, Vassell, I think strong plays. This Primo guy looked really good earlier on in the season when they were really thin. Trey Jones. So there's, I think, like 7-8 guys. You could even maybe add Thaddeus Young to the mix. 7-8 guys to play here. If you're doing 150, mix and match all of them. But I want at least a few Spurs on all my teams tonight. In cash games, you're probably playing, 3 to 4 San Antonio guys. On the Heat side, though, it does get a little more difficult because we have Kyle Lowry coming back, like you said. So they got Lowry, Butler, Bam, Hero all in the mix. For me, the only one I think I can play is probably Jimmy Butler. I thought earlier Tyler Hero was interesting because of his price tag, and there really wasn't a ton of value out there prior to the Spurs news. Well, we have the value. I don't think we really need to go to this mid-tier anymore where Tyler Hero sits at 6.2K. So the only guy I'm going to play is probably Jimmy Butler. I know, I'm going to be high on the Spurs. Most people are going to be high on the Spurs. In these situations where there's just standout value, I like to play at least one guy on the other side in tournaments, not necessarily in cash games. In my player pool, it would be Jimmy Butler. But on the Spurs side, we got a ton of value. We got to see who starts. But I guess really either way, like Lonnie Walker, even if he comes off the bench, still a strong option. Same can be said for Vassell. And the added bonus is these guys have already been playing well. They've already been pretty solid and consistent recently. So really, really good situation here for the San Antonio guys.
Yeah, we also need starting lineups. Popovich can definitely show his hand a little bit with what he's doing there, and that can make some bench guys more interesting depending what he does. So that's something to stay tuned about, and obviously get in the Discord chat and get the updates on that. And again, we're going to get that starting lineup 30 minutes before, so we'll have enough time, and JSU will be on the Up the Lock show to break that all down with you with Holden and everyone else who jumps on there. I believe.
I do have just one question about this game. Sorry to cut you off, but Eubanks, why did he only play 5 minutes when Pirtle got hurt? Pirtle got hurt in the first half, right?
I believe so. I can look it up.
Yeah, it was his first half. It's just kind of weird that he only played 5 minutes in that game with Pirtle out for at least half the game.
Yeah, what I'll do is while AP breaks it down, I'll look into that a little bit and just see. It could be, the Golden State matchup maybe, because I don't know, maybe when I'd have to look and see what they ran, because they could have obviously went a little bit smaller, but I'll check that out here in a second. But AP, I want to get the breakdown from you of what to do here, because the Spurs, they're obviously really good plays here, but it's hard to figure out what to do without that starting lineup. I think Derek White and Eubanks are like the two favorite options right now. And the rest I got to figure out based on, I think, the starting lineups and based on construction. And then I know the Heat, they're getting a little bit more crowded, but Spread, he gave me the breakdown on the Run Pure Bet show. If you ever check that out, we do that at 3:30. A bunch of us mix and match on the show. I believe AP, you might be on tomorrow. I think you're on Fridays doing the Run Pure Bet shows, but yeah. The Kyle Lowry, apparently his burner phone, the lady found it and things did not go well. That was the personal reason. So, he's probably not in a good headspace, so don't look to roster him right now. But I thought that was a good laugh. But yeah, break down this game for me, AP, because it's definitely a kind of a key game on this slate because the Spurs, they're going to make or break it today. So how are you handling it?
Yeah, so regarding kind of why didn't Eubanks play? That was the game where the Warriors, they had their scrubs in there. Looney really didn't play a ton in the third quarter, didn't play any at all in the fourth quarter. So the Warriors were a small team and Eubanks could not hang. So it forced him out of the game. Doc obviously went smaller there. So
yeah, AP, you're 1,000% right, by the way. The breakdown on numbers, Looney's played till the 4-minute mark, and then Eubanks played to 6:52. So that's a good catch by you. That was kind of the breakdown. So I don't think we need to worry about Eubanks here in this spot, right? The Heat are going to play bigger no matter what.
Yeah, the Heat are going to play big. It's Eubanks. He's not like a great player, but he's going to be in there getting, rebounds, putbacks. Can you fade him in tournaments? Sure. You could fade him. You could play. Here's the thing with the Spurs. Am I saying to fade him? No. Could you fade him? Sure. We've seen, what's going to happen if Miami gets out to a 14-2 or 14-3 lead? We've seen Pop before, just bench all the starters, plug in some of these guys, Trey Jones, maybe Thad Young, who's been in the doghouse for a long time. Maybe he gets in there. Who knows what Pop's going to do. But Eubanks, solid play. I have him core play tag on the Heat map. I also have Lonnie Walker core play tag. I think Lonnie Walker is a phenomenal play here, especially if he starts. Keep an eye on that. But even if he doesn't start, when you take all of those players that are out off the court, Lonnie Walker is a guy that has just done very well. The numbers look extremely good. Derek White, another core play tag type player. He's going to get all the usage, much like both of you said. So Eubanks, Lonnie Walker, White, that's what I'm looking at. I would love to play Thad Young. It's just, man, he's barely, they hate this guy. Pop literally hates him. So if he's going to be popular, I'd be cautious with him and he would make for a good fade. So a lot is going to depend on what the starting lineup looks like. But, with the information that we have now, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson in tournaments, and then Eubanks are going to be the go-to guys that I'm going to look at. But I want to see who they start between, Primo or Lonnie Walker. If they do start Primo, I'll like Lonnie Walker in tournaments because he's going to come off the bench and potentially run the offense, or at least, help to run the offense there with Trey Jones. So really nice spot. We should have many different options fantasy-wise to pick from. Tough matchup against the Heat, but this is just one of those spots where we just got to have to jam some of those guys in. So I'm with you on the Heat as run backs. Like with Lowry back, what I'm doing is slightly under projecting everyone else. Like I have no interest in Duncan Robinson. Tyler Hero's just been kind of, man, he's hasn't been really getting it done. And now with Lowry back, I mean, who knows how that's going to impact him. Don't have a ton of interest in Bam and Jimmy. I'm slightly under projecting. So it's the Spurs side for me. I'm off of the Heat here, and that's how I'm playing it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Thad Young is a guy, I don't see how he doesn't play. I mean, the only way is they might have to play Devontae Cock. I don't even know how to say his name. Is it K Cock or Mr. Cock? We can't play him. We're going to play Thad Young instead. At least for me, I know I'm going to do that because I think Thad Young getting that power forward eligibility is kind of nice. And he's 3K. We talk about a lot, these 3K guys, it's harder for them to hurt you. I don't want to bring up Isaiah Jackson yesterday, but 5'4", I know he got hurt, but it's that's what happens if you lose rotations. And I know it was the start of the game, but if he got hurt at halftime, it would absolutely kill you even at 5'4". So just getting 3K guys on these slates to get in raw points guys are really nice.
Could this be the start of, okay, so the trade deadline's next week. Get Thad Young out there, let him run. Older guy, but let him run. I mean, before it actually hasn't happened, but would either of you be surprised if they just finally randomly let him run, put up a good number, and then, the next game and moving up into the trade deadline, just let him run. I mean, I know nothing about his contract, if he's even a piece that could get moved. I just, who knows? We see random stuff all the time happen up to this trade deadline.
Well, I did some Twitter searches on it, and two teams I saw that definitely popped up were the Suns, because they're trying to make some trades. And then another one that popped up was the Bucks, which the Bucks I think could make a little bit of sense. They kind of been looking for some type of big men there. So he would add up. And then why not the Bulls, right? The Bulls are trying to make a push, and the Bulls he knows the system. He's played with them. So Bulls could make sense. I don't know if it matches up salary wise or whatever, but I do think that Thad Young, give him some run here makes some sense. And from what I read before too, when you guys were talking, he sounds very conditioned. He says he does practice and then he hits the treadmill after and he's good to go. So he's not going to be out of shape or anything like that. So hopefully, I think Thad Young is definitely.
Is he hitting the bench after the treadmill? That's what we want to know.
That's the key. That's where we got to get the Instagram. We got to get on the Instagram.
Hot, sweaty balls, right?
But Thad Young, definitely a guy to like here in this spot. Other than that, this is a game that we need some starting lineup stuff. Heat are okay. I kind of agreed with what Hoop said. Maybe a run back in some tournaments, but that's really it for me. Let's move on over to the next game. Let's talk about these Bulls and Raptors here. And Zach LaVine, he was ruled questionable for this game. So that's really big news, because if Zach LaVine doesn't play and this game starts 30 minutes later, and of course, there's a chance you don't get it in time, you could obviously have some news that changes up the slate a bit. And Ayo Dosunmu, I don't know how to say his name that well. Hopefully that was good enough. JT Hayes, he'll be on tomorrow. He'll be able to tell me how to say it properly. But Ayo will definitely be an interesting play at 5.6K. You can see Kobe White slide into the starting lineup. And if he does, he's a very high usage guy that can kind of steal some usage away from a DeRozan and a Vucevic. But there is a lot of usage to go around, and DeRozan would be a really good spend up option, getting that revenge game against the old Toronto Raptors. And then Vucevic at 9-1, he's a center option that if you don't want to pay down, you could easily pay up for and could have a massive game. And on the flip side, it's really nice to kind of do a little bit of a stack of this game, especially if LaVine misses, because you got Van Vliet, who gets a ton of minutes, Gary Trent, Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Pascal Siakam. All these guys, we know they're going to get a ton of run. And if you happen to luck box into that overtime, man, you'll just get even more fantasy points your way. Hoop, what are you doing with this game? Because I mean, if LaVine's in, that definitely lose some interest in the Bulls, but I still think they're good spend ups. But man, if he ends up being ruled out and he gets ruled out maybe at 6:45, people might not be able to make that adjustment in time mentally, where I think you can gain a little bit of an edge here with this game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I do with the Bulls is obviously contingent on the status of Zach LaVine. If he's in, I probably wouldn't play him, but I still like DeRozan. I mean, DeRozan is just a phenomenal season. I don't think I've been impressed with anyone this season more so than DeRozan. What he's doing, he's doing everything so consistent, so steady. I think he's in play either way. And then if Levine's out, he gets a really big boost. Honestly, where we don't have a ton of spends, man, I'd love to play DeRozan with Levine out. Vucevic, I probably don't have any interest in him if Levine's in, but if Levine's out, I'd be fine playing Vooch at 9.1K. And on the Raptors side, we talk about it every show. I hate to sound so redundant, but you know what you're getting with the Raptors. Like in competitive games, these guys are playing a shit ton of minutes. So Fred VanVleet as the last guy in at 8.8, I'd be okay with. Siakam, same thing. Siakam at 9K, last guy type in, fine with. Not going to be a building block. The interesting guy here is our boy Gary Trent Jr., who has just been smashing lately. 5 straight games with at least 40 fantasy points. He shot the ball at least 20 times in every single game, just getting it done mostly behind the arc. I mean, these numbers are incredible. 5 3-pointers made, 6 3-pointers made, 5, 9, and 6. He's averaging 7 3-pointers made per game over the last 5. That is crazy, and it's perfect for DK scoring. He's still not all that expensive, 6.1K. He's not going to pop in projections because this is kind of just a new thing, and he's just been playing so well recently. So I think Gary Trent Jr. is a really good play. I like playing guys on heaters really in all sports. He is on an absolute heater right now. 6.1K is still a fair price tag. I mean, if he comes out and cools off a little bit and gets you 30 fantasy points, you're not dead at 6.1K on a 6-game slate. So I would really like Gary Trent Jr. tonight. Dude is just playing so well. But yeah, a lot of this depends on the bull side depends on what happens with Levine. If he's out, really like DeRozan, like Vucevic more. And then on the Raptors side, VanVleet, Siakam, probably more in play actually if Levine's in. Opposed to him being out. If Levine's out, I prefer DeRozan, Vucevic over VanVleet, Siakam at similar price tag. But the guy I'm definitely looking at tonight is going to be Gary Trent, just on a heater.
Yeah, definitely like that call. Man, I love DeRozan in this spot, though. He'll be a guy that, especially, I mean, even if Levine's in, I think I'll still play him. But, if he's out, man, I'm just going to load the boat on him. Seems like a really good play. It's just the unfortunate thing is he is only power forward eligible, which can be a bit frustrating. AP, what are you doing here with these Bulls?
Just real quick, got the Spurs starters. Thad Young starting, boys.
There we go. And no,
no Eubanks. We're not. Yeah, Eubanks is a fade for me tonight.
Why? Why do you only play 5 minutes? I mean, that's scary.
I think he just sucks. He's just not good at basketball.
They clearly don't want to play him. This is the perfect style. You got a big, tall white dude in Jakob Poeltl. Why not just bring in the other big, tall white dude and plug him? They don't like him. They clearly don't like him. So, interesting starting lineup.
Yeah, they could. So, and they're guys. They got 2, 4, 6, 8. They got 11 guys. Which I mean, you could see Mr. Devontae, Mr. Kaycock. You could see him pop in there too over a Eubank. So I wouldn't risk it. That just seems a little concerning.
Oh, Kaycock. When you're saying him, I'm like, man, I played him one night on FanDuel. He was 3.5K, and I had sometimes you have that perfect team and you just need a 3.5K dude. I played him and he actually went off. He got all the scrub run and steals, blocks. The dude went off in 5 minutes. It was pretty incredible.
It wouldn't shock me if they put him in instead, just because it's a backup. But yeah, Thad Young, I mean, he's just going to be on you got to play him. He's such a good, he can distribute as a big man. I mean, it's definitely a good spot for him. So, yeah, that's
the guy that I might reconsider now too is Bam. Gosh, he might have his way with the smaller, he can hang, Bam is a guy who can hang with the small ball lineup. So definitely, I know I said I was going to fade the Heat, but now I'm going to have Bam as a consideration for sure.
And the nice thing with Thaddeus too is power forward and center eligible. You're not locked into playing filling a center spot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with you on that one. So Raptors and Bulls. AP, did you discuss them there, or did I lost track of where we're at? But I think
So with the Bulls and Raptors, two teams with some of just the best rotations, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, Levine, all getting 38 minutes a game, and then we all know that the Raptors guys just get all the minutes that they can handle. absolutely, what we love to see for DFS. So like what I do with Saber is I've just been over projecting the guys that I like. They don't always hit my builds because they're priced appropriately, but I do want exposure. So much like Hoop said, DeRozan for sure if Levine is out. And then on the other side, it's Gary Trent. He's a guy I overprojected. He's on a heater right now. I think he's just an all-around good basketball player, a good matchup. The guys I like from the Raptors side that I overprojected are Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, and Siakam. I'm probably not playing all three of them together, but if I land on two of them and then with a run back with like DeRozan, if I'm able to make that work, I think minutes-wise, you should feel very good about your construction if you're able to make it work, and at least what those guys are going to do for you. So definitely have interest in this game. It's just going to come down to the Levine news and which guys I'm going to get. I'm most confident on Trent and DeRozan as it stands right now.
Yep, definitely going to be a really good game here to get exposure to. And these studs too, going up to a VanVleet or a Siakam, they just play a pile of minutes, and it feels like one of them at least gets there almost every single game. But yeah, let's move on over to the next game. Let's talk about the Suns and the Hawks. And we got DeAndre Ayton back, and with Ayton back, that does muddy some stuff up a little bit. He played last game, was on a little bit of a minutes limit, but still 40 minutes from Devin Booker against the Nets, going up against the Hawks here, which this game should be decently competitive. Suns are they are road favorites, but I do think they're going to keep riding out this hot streak, and I think Booker's going to keep playing really well. Just the question is, do I want to spend that salary on him with Ayton back at 9.3K? And then Paul, he's also 9.7K. Like, that's a hefty price tag, Hoop, but they are still producing. Even last game, 51 fantasy points from Chris Paul. So how are you handling them in this game going up against the Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah, tough salaries. And again, another situation where if Levine does play, I'd probably have more interest in guys like Paul and Booker, because if Levine's out, really like DeRozan, really like Vooch. The price tags are tough, 9.7 and 9.3, but they continue to kind of pay it off. This should be a competitive game if Trae Young plays. I'd have more interest in these guys if Trae Young's in, opposed to Trae Young being out, but the situation is getting a little muddier, like you said, with Ayton back. Only played 28 minutes that first game, probably plays like 30 some minutes tonight. Long story short, these guys aren't my favorite way to spend salary tonight. Last guy in type plays, sure. Definitely would only play one on a team, wouldn't play Paul and Booker together. Then on the Hawks side, it depends on what happens here with Trae Young, who's listed as questionable. I think he plays. 7:30 Eastern game. This is a big game for the Hawks. We definitely will get the news before lock. So I'm under the assumption that Trae Young plays. And if he plays, I don't have any interest really in anyone on the Hawks side. Maybe a little bit of Clint Capella at only 5.9K. Ayton's going to be out there. He should be out there when Ayton is, so the minutes could creep up a little bit. So Capella have some interest at 5.9, maybe a little bit of John Collins, but overall not a ton of interest here on the Hawks side for me.
Yep, definitely going to be an interesting game. Also, we got the Trae Young. He's questionable, but I don't know. I feel like he plays, but if he doesn't, this would obviously shake up a lot. You'd have a lot of value open up. I would love Kevin Huerter here in this spot. He would definitely be someone I'd be getting exposure to. He's got that guard and forward eligibility, which I like too. And you get DeLon Wright in there. There'd be a lot of different ways that you can go. AP, do you have any plan of attack with the Hawks and the injury situation? And then what are you doing with these spend up Suns with Ayton back here?
Yeah, right now the Hawks are really difficult to target. Outside of Trae Young, he's really the only guy who's been consistently getting any minutes, any type of minutes consistency. Clint Capella, honestly, Okongwu's been outplaying both John Collins and Clint Capella. Those are two guys to keep an eye out on. But I don't think we can play Capella here. I don't even think we can play Collins. He's playing 24 to 26 minutes a game. Okongwu's playing 22 to 23 off the bench. Clint Capella's playing right around 25. They're running out 10 to 11 guys in this rotation. It's kind of a disaster. And I think it continues tonight against a Suns team that looks unbeatable. This Sun team is a problem in the West. They are up and down, so good right now. barring any injury or anything, this is definitely the team to beat right now. Mikal Bridges just playing out, out of his mind. Everyone talks about LeBron and how good he is at his age. Isn't Chris Paul like playing just as good or better right now than LeBron? Like, he's at times, if Booker's shots off, he's carrying this team and getting it done. So I've been really impressed with him, and he's playing big minutes. He's playing like 38, 39 minutes a game, right there with Devin Booker. So when we're talking about the most like DFS friendly rotations, it's the Suns for their guards, it's the Raptors, and it's the Bulls studs right now. So those are all guys I over projected. I want exposure to Devin Booker and Chris Paul, probably not in the same lineup. And I lean Devin Booker just because that price tag is just seems a little bit too low. I think he's a 9.7 to 10K player right now. And he's giving you big upside each and every night. And then Chris Paul too. The thing about Chris Paul is he's asked to do more offensively. He's still getting the peripheral stats, 14, 19, 14 assists over his last 3 games. The rebounds are there and the scoring is there. So both guys definitely viable tonight. It's going to be difficult at the guard position to get all of these guys in, but they're phenomenal plays. And I'm fading the Hawks side here. I'm just not playing any of these guys against the Suns team.
Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest matchup for them, but they are home. And obviously if the Trae Young news comes out, that'll be big, but they are getting they still are kind of crowded there. It's like hard to guess who it's going to be, but starting lineups can help with that as well. Definitely a game to consider, but not a game I feel like we're loading up on. Let's move on over to this next game. Let's talk about the Kings and the Warriors. And we got a 225.5 total here. And the Kings, they got De'Aaron Fox. He is questionable. And if he does not play, man, definitely will be in on Halliburton again. I like him in this spot. Price tag 8.5. It does feel like a lot, but with all this Spurs value, I think it's perfectly fine to get up to him. And then you got Curry on the other side. He could just be like a nice spend up there at that 10.4K. And Klay Thompson, he's someone that, man, he's got to get going here soon. He's been in a little bit of a slump, but the price is still cheap and you want to get in early. And then Andrew Wiggins, we should mention him, like he's 6.7K and he's just been smashing. I mean, look at his last 3 games, 39.75 fantasy points, 49 and 42.75. And at 6.7K, you would not want to ignore that. So, Hoop, I'll go over to you first. Like, I love Halliburton, but talk about Wiggins first. Cause like on this slate, like he's kind of in play as crazy as it sounds. And I typically don't want to play a 6.7K Andrew Wiggins. Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, something's clicked with him. Well, the All-Star thing ever since that announcement, it's like he's going out there and proving that he belongs. I mean, he obviously doesn't belong starting for the All-Star game, but he's out there playing like he does. So at 6.7K, I do have interest in Andrew Wiggins. I also have interest in Klay Thompson. Talked about it, I don't know, maybe it was the end of last week, where at some point Klay Thompson's going to play like 32 minutes and he's going to go off for like 50 fantasy points. I want to be on him when that happens. It's a good spot for him to go off. I mean, the Kings suck. He's going to continue to shoot a ton. Still only 6K. I like Wiggins. I like Thompson. Not much else for me on the Warriors side. I don't really want to play Steph here against this Kings team. I mean, they should just absolutely beat them up and just get an easy victory here. So probably no Steph for me, although the price is somewhat appealing. 10.4 is pretty cheap. I might have to reconsider that statement because he is really cheap. And if somehow this game is close, he could go off. But I prefer to play like Klay and Wiggins. Then on the Kings side, like I assume Fox is going to be out too. I don't know if I want to go to Halliburton. Like there's so many guys in that range I think that I prefer more. Like I definitely would want DeRozan and Vooch, Van Fleet, Siakam, like Devin Booker. Like I'd much rather play all those guys over Halliburton. I don't know. They still have a lot of bodies on the Kings side. I'm not going to play any Kings guys tonight. And even if Fox is out, maybe with the Fox thing, maybe, they're exploring a trade with him as well. Maybe that's why they're not rushing him back. I don't know what's going on there. It's a weird situation, but their current team dynamic is not going to work long-term. There's just no way. But for fantasy tonight, I'll be fading the Kings side.
Yeah, I think the Kings, it can be tough, but like, I think if I play like a King, I'd probably play like a Warrior too. I think that might be a route that I look at. But I still like Halliburton. The potential assists are up there. Just the worry is if they somehow just get destroyed by the Warriors, which That's certainly possible. I mean, it is a 14-point spread. The Warriors are at home and they're definitely healthier. AP, you had some interest in Halliburton yesterday. I believe so did I. What are you doing here with him in this spot? Because this is a spot where I want to play him, and I kind of agree with what Hoop is saying. Like, there could be reasons to fade him, and like that spread is kind of large. So how are you handling it? Because I really want to play Halliburton, but I want to get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like attacking this Warriors team. I was trying to pull it up right now, but when they put all and it's just like, it's like their system, man. And like these coaches have them dialed in, like just their switches and everything are so good. And against a team like the Kings, like they're going to get absolutely destroyed. Sorry. Like the Kings were struggling against a simple zone that the Knicks were running the other day. Like if with the Warriors out there, I see no way the Kings keep this one close. Coming off a win over the Nets, but like, man, and if you watch that game, Harden was checked out. Like he had zero interest playing in that game. And so I'm really struggling to play any Kings players here. I just don't trust them in general. I don't trust them against the Warriors. Halliburton's priced up, so I'll probably move off. I wouldn't talk anyone out of playing them if they have, some conviction, but I don't feel the need to go there. Harrison Barnes is a guy who's I think he could pop projection wise. What I'm going to do with him is under project him. Like, this is a matchup. He has definitely been of late one of their better players. I don't trust it here against the Warriors, so I'll be off. And then I don't necessarily trust the Warriors guys. I trust the minutes Clay's going to get. So Clay's going to get his minutes. He has zero risk when it comes to blowout or anything, but everyone else, I don't really trust the run. They can if they get up by a big lead, Kirk can run 11 to 12 guys here, and the minutes can all be, divided up. So it takes me off Curry, takes me off a lot of these guys. If anything, I would have more interest in playing some of the scrubs like Camille. I don't think we need to go there now with the Spurs value in that starting lineup information, but originally I was looking at some of these scrubs. So while I could see this game going over, I'm probably going to be a little bit under on it as far as DFS goes. And I feel pretty good about that.
That Kuminga guy, you're about to say his name, he looked really good to end that game the other night. He looked really good.
If they do blow him out and if he gets that extra run, he is one guy. He's priced up. No one's going to play him. If you're 150 maxing, I would have him in your player pool. Get 7 to 10% of them. That's all you need, good. And you're going to be way overweight the field.
All right. Well, we obviously got some news just now. We got Cade Cunningham. He is out, and Josh Jackson is out. So that's really big news. Hoop, do you have any takes on that? Is that going to change stuff for you? Are you going to load up on some Pistons here because of that? Because that is a lot of usage to go around for Cade Cunningham being out.
I think the one guy, well, not the one. I think Joseph becomes a play. Obviously, hard to play him over the San Antonio guys still, but he is a play. Corey Joseph. Then Sadiq Bey. If you end up in that mid range, I'd be fine playing Sadiq Bey, 6.2K. You're going to get a lot of minutes. He probably plays upper 30s tonight in terms of minutes, and he's had some big games. Jeremy Grant I'd be still hesitant to play Jeremy Grant just because of coming off the injury. I guess he did play 29 minutes. Didn't look all that good though. So yeah, probably Sadiq Bey, Corey Joseph off the top of my head, but definitely have to dig a little deeper on that.
All right, well, AP, we got the Cade news. So what do you think about that? But what do you also think of D'Lo? He is now out as well. So that's pretty big. I mean, Cat's obviously going to get a nice little bump. And because Eubanks isn't starting, that could obviously give us some opportunity to roster a center like Cat. And then Ant Edwards is in play, even though he's 8K. And the floor can be brutal sometimes, but the ceiling's nice, like we talk about. I like playing Ant, so I'm definitely a sucker for it. What are you doing here with the D'Lo news? Because I think this is pretty big here.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those games where, the Wolves are still going to roll. Cat's been quietly playing some incredible basketball, almost 55 DK points and 27 minutes against the Nuggets, 69 against Utah. He should destroy this matchup. The thing about Grant is he going to have Vanderbilt on him? Like Vanderbilt's been a pretty good defender. If he does, I would be pretty concerned about him. He's either going to be on what, Bay or Grant. It'd probably make more sense.
I think it's got to be.
It's got to be Grant.
It's got to be Grant because Bay's more standing in the corner to shoot.
Grant's like what? He's 6'8", something like that, 6'8", 6'9". So it has to be Grant. So and I bet here's what I bet happens. I bet Grant is going to project well too. I think I could see the optos kind of giving him like a 30, 37, 38 projection with Cade out. And so I wouldn't mind under projecting him and going that route. And then getting on I like the Sadiq Bey call. I'm a sucker for Corey Joseph. I think he's a good, a fair find. He's a game manager type player. Tough matchup though here against Pat Bev. I think maybe some of these guys off the bench could get it done. It's just you never know with Dwayne Casey. So I'm still not excited about the spot, but I do think if you're multi-entering that you could play some of these guys.
Yeah, we just got the news. Pat Beverly will play. Hoop, what do you think of that with the D'Lo news? Anything changed for you here?
Yeah, I mean, Cat a lot more, Edwards a lot more. Pat Beverly's fine. The problem is he's priced very similar to those Spurs guys. Definitely prefer the Spurs guys over him. So for me, it would be more Towns, more Edwards. If I need more value, Patrick Beverly. But like I said, I like all the Spurs guys over him still.
All right. Well, Hoop, we got to pick those likes, right? We're at 533 watching, 183, and we got some people in the chat. Dwayne said that the show has been so good he forgot to hit the like, so he hit it. And then Colin says the likes are very hurtful. And I mean, we haven't said it in a while, but we expect you guys just to, come in, say hi, hit that like. And what's the number we got to get to? Because now we're at 546 watching. We got 185 likes on it.
We got some work to do. We're gonna go for we need 275, so we need 90, and we only have one more game to cover. So if you haven't hit the like and you want the free plays of the day at the end, you better pound that button.
Yep, and we're willing to pull that plug. So we'll have to see. We'll definitely.
Mangone is not Title. Title is so afraid to pull the plug on the free plays. It's almost embarrassing how afraid Title is. Mangone, on the other hand, he'll pull them.
With age, right? I'm fed up. I got expectations. Expectations are 275. They're what Hoop says. And let's get that home so we can give out those plays of the day. Let's go over to you to close this out, AP. Let's talk about the Lakers and the Clippers because second night of a back-to-back and it's Anthony Davis. And he had a great game yesterday with, LeBron out and LeBron is doubtful. And I would like to play Anthony Davis tonight. He's center eligible at 9.8K. Seems like a good option, but that second night of back-to-back scares me. I mean, Anthony Davis in the locker room, the money thrown into the fire gif in the chat, it just concerns me. And Russell Westbrook, he just hasn't been great. Yesterday, he got 43. He got that. I think he got the triple-double. No, he got the double-double. He didn't get the points there. He could not get the triple-double in points because he's terrible, but he's 9.6K, and it's not a great slate, and it's a 220 total. So I do think that Westbrook's in play, but I like other guards instead. I think there's other options I'd rather spend on. And then on the Clippers side, I think Reggie Jackson at 5'4" might be a better play just than Russell Westbrook. I would never be surprised if Reggie Jackson put up 50 and Russell Westbrook put up 38, just because Reggie is in a good matchup and he's going to have a lot of usage for himself. And Marcus Morris is a guy who probably a couple months ago we were playing a lot, and the minutes, they're starting to trend upwards, and he gets a really good matchup here where I think he could chuck a ton. So what are you doing with these Clippers? Because I see a lot of them popping up on the optimizers, kind of like the Spurs, not as much. And then what are you doing with those Lakers spend ups with LeBron doubtful, AP?
Yeah, this game is kind of an interesting one. So the one thing about the Clippers, we're kind of if you go back a couple months, we're used to a slow random rotation, which is still the same. Rotations are definitely random, but they've been forced into these small ball games where they're running out these small lineups, and we've seen them play at a faster pace. So I think over the last 3 or 4 games, they rank 4th in pace, averaging 105 possessions per game, which is not what we're used to seeing out of this team. And then we know the Lakers, they rank 1st this season in pace of play. So if you're a pace guy and if you're a believer in that stat, which is one that I do factor into these games, you should have some interest in this game because we all know Russ likes to run at a fast pace. And if the Clippers continue with kind of this random rotation that they have where you get a lot of small dudes out there. I think they're going to run up and down the court here, and we could see some points. So how do we attack it, though? I mean, man, this Clippers team, one night it's Reggie. The next night it's Luke Kennard. The next night it's Amir Coffey. And then, Terrence Mann is just randomly, not ever doing very much, getting between like 18 to 22 fantasy points. So, I mean, he's one guy we could definitely fade. But then you'll see like the random Eric Bledsoe game. And so while I like this game and I think we'll see points here, I do think it's one of the riskier ones to predict. So in tournaments, yeah, you can play Reggie Jackson. You can play Amir Coffey. I think Coffey's going to be very low owned. He's had some big games, and he could have a big game here. He could also bust too. So keep that in mind. And then on the other side, Westbrook. I mean, that's I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to play him. But I feel like if I don't play him, he's gonna hurt my feelings. Luckily, at 9.6K, we have many other options that I think are just better plays. Chris Paul, for one, at 9.7. I think Chris Paul is a better play. Devin Booker, same position, better play. Fred VanVleet. We have guys that we can play over Westbrook. And I'm just fading like a monster triple-double out of him, which sure, I mean, we could see vintage Russ. I don't think we're going to see him. And the other reason why I don't think so is like Malik Monk's coming off a very, kind of like game where, the shot was off and he only took 10 shots, but we've seen Malik Monk steal offensive usage away from Westbrook. Like just with how this Lakers team is built, I would much rather Monk be taking shots than Westbrook. Like I think everyone here would agree with me on that. So really for me, I don't think I'm going to get to Russ today. I wouldn't talk anyone off playing him. He's always capable of having a big game. We just haven't seen it too often of late. Anthony Davis is the one that I'm looking at this now. I'm glad we got that news on the Timberwolves, and I'm glad we're, talking this out on the show. I went and looked back at a few things. This Pistons team has been getting destroyed, absolutely destroyed by opposing bigs. I might play Towns as a hedge just over AD. And so that's the route I might go in my main build tonight. Will I fade AD? No, I'll probably have some exposure to him. But I'm leaning more to having more Towns over AD, so I'm not, sweating out that injury in this late game or whatever happens, AD to the locker room. That doesn't mean I'm full fading him. It's AD, obviously, in a decent spot, and he could have a big game as he's got to carry this team. But as of right now, I'm probably going to be a little bit under on this game, and I feel fine about that.
I like the call of Cat over AD. I definitely agree with you on that one as well. Hoop, what do you think here? Are you playing Westbrook and AD? And then what do you do with these Clippers? Because I think they're in play and it's a good game, but also like there's some good news that we already just got. And you could make the argument, maybe just do the Big T 777, get out in front of everyone, and then just, let the people catch you. Because this game, I could see bust potential for sure with Ty Lue on the other side being a second night of the back-to-back for the Lakers as well.
Yeah. With the Clippers side, I really agree with everything that AP said. It's like, man, like who knows who's going to step up and be the guy that plays well on any given night. So much inconsistency in the production from these guys. Early on in the season, it was Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson's had some big games, but like you said, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, Coffey, Eric Bledsoe, like these guys just pop out of nowhere and have the big game. So hard to predict. Now, that being said, the prices are starting to adjust a little bit. And we have Reggie Jackson like 5.4K on DK. Now, I would play him if he's like, I get everything I want. I need a 5.4K guy. Cool. I'll play Reggie Jackson. Not going to be a building block. Same can be said for Marcus Morris. 5.7K. If I land there and Marcus Morris fits, I'm going to roll with it and not change anything. Those are probably the only two guys, though, on the Clippers side that I would consider tonight. And then on the Lakers side, like I agree with you guys on Westbrook. He's just not very good. Like he's just not good at actual basketball. I mean, the route for him to burn you in DFS is for him to get like 15 assists and 15 rebounds. Like that's how he hurts you. If I'm going to play a Lakers guy, it's going to be Anthony Davis. But I agree with you guys on the point. Like I'd probably rather play Cat over Anthony Davis at the center position. Can you play both of them? Yeah, sure. I think they're both strong options. But yeah, if I'm playing a Laker, it's going to be Anthony Davis over Russell Westbrook. And I just can't really play any of these other guys. Like Malik Monk had that massive game two games ago, but now he's like 5.8K. Like I'm not going to pay 5.8 for Monk. So yeah, I guess in this game, my favorite play would probably be Anthony Davis, but there's other guys that I prefer to spend on over him. And then on the other side, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, fine as last guys in, but not overly excited about this game. And I'm good with it, to be honest with you.
Yep. The more we talk about it, the more I think I'm not going to have as much interest in just, again, dodging Ty Lue rotations doesn't sound like a bad idea, but then it's for Popovich ones. But again, that Spurs situation is a little bit better than that Clippers one. Not just a little bit. It's way better for sure. Let's see the likes. Let's see where we're at. We're at 257 likes. So Hoop, I'll give you one last chance. Tell the people about Run Pure Sports. Tell them about all the stuff we have. You don't have to buy the NBA package tonight, the MMA package, the NASCAR package. You get everything one sport, one price for all the sports, and you get SaberSim as well. I mean, there's so much great stuff that we have. If you're a sports fan, how do you not sign up for Run Pure Sports?
Yeah, I mean, our model has always been, one price, everything on our site. We don't want to upcharge you when a new sport starts. We keep the prices consistent all season, all year round. So when there's 4 main sports going on, the price is the same as when, the summer, there's only really baseball and PGA going on. So one price for everything. The other sites around the industry, they kind of hit you up every time a new sport starts. If baseball starts, it's going to be $350. NFL starts, it's going to be $250. NASCAR starts, it's going to be $400 and some dollars. Like, holy shit. Like that is a crazy price just for one sport in NASCAR, especially when we have like guys that understand NASCAR better than anyone in the industry. Coop, Matty Ice, our boy Mikey, break down every single race and do a phenomenal job. I think NASCAR is starting in a couple weeks too. I know the Daytona 500s at the end of the month. So every single sport, one price, and it's a cool way to get into other sports too. Like I was never into MMA, and then Title starts doing this playbook. I was like, man, this guy knows MMA really well. Start following his work on MMA. Now I love MMA. I love watching it every week. The UFC is great. Title does a great job breaking that down, but we have you covered for every sport. And like I said, we don't charge you when new sports start. One consistent price all year round.
Yep, for sure. And we're at the old 273 likes. So,
oh man, that hurts.
I know. I'm torn right now what to do. I'm torn if we keep this thing moving or now 275 popped up. So they're lucky. If it would have stalled for a little bit, I definitely would have pulled it for sure. But, it's tough to do when you're on air.
Probably be the softest one out of all of us. So even softer than Title.
Poor Title. He's just like a man of the people. He's in the chat shouting out everyone that's hanging out. Making comments in there. I don't think he'd ever have the stones to pull the plays, to be honest.
I hate pulling the plays when like I know like we're off air and like it's like we're still going and people don't realize there's a delay. That's the only worry I have. But no, we're not pulling it. We got it. They pushed it home for us. And they're still pushing it, which you love to see. I'm gonna go first, and I don't think my guy's going to have a lot of ownership. Of course, with news, that could change. But I think with all the other news we had, I think it'll still be fine. It's only a 6-gamer, but I think guys are spending up for other options, and I don't think DeMar DeRozan is getting as much ownership right now. So I'm in on DeMar DeRozan. I think this is a really good spot, even if LaVine plays. Like if LaVine plays, I still think it's a great spot. I still think he's underprojected right now for the role that he should be in. So give me DeMar DeRozan in the little bit of a revenge game against the Toronto Raptors as my play of the day. Let's go on over to Hoop. Who do you got here? Who is your play of the day?
Same game, different team. Talked about him for a while. Gary Trent Jr. is going to be the rich parents play of the day. Despite being probably like the hottest guy in the NBA right now, just, overall, I mean, obviously some other guys are playing better, but when you look at the name Gary Trent, he's playing way above expectation right now. Just knocking down a ton of threes. Like I said, I think averaging like 7 threes per game in his last 5. At some point that'll cool off, I'm sure. But right now he's on a heater. He's still only 6.1K and not getting much ownership. Gary Trent Jr., rich parents play of the day.
Yep, love it. Little game stack there too, which is never bad. AP, we'll shift on over you. Maybe you're staying in the same game. Maybe you're going to other one. I knew Hoops was Trent Jr. I had a good feeling. I have a good guess on yours too, but I'm curious what it is. You talked about him a couple times on this show. I think it's a spend up as well. But who do you got, AP? Who is your play of the day?
So the guy I'm going with is I think he's going to smash Hoops' team. So Karl Anthony Towns. So
it is Cat. I knew it. I knew it was gonna be Cat.
I mean, it wasn't when we said, talked myself into it on the show, just looking at things. But honestly, it's like, look at this. Mo Bamba put up 38 DK points in like 28 minutes against this Detroit team. He was hitting his threes. He was getting whatever he wanted. Tons of blocks, steals, had a nice double-double. If he can do that, if Jokic can, Jokic is going to just dominate everyone, but he had monster numbers against them. I think Towns is going to get it done. I like him as a pivot off of Anthony Davis, who I think may be a little bit higher owned in this matchup.
And we know AP will be secretly sitting there when all the gifts are out and AD to the locker room. AP will secretly be sitting there being like, I feel bad for AD, but he'll still have a smile on his face. We all been there. We're like, I feel bad for the injury, but you're very happy about it for sure. But that'll wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to catch all of our content over here at Run Pure Sports. Also, sign up now so you can get and check out the Up the Lock show with JSU, Holden, Glock, Big T, breaking it all down for you guys. But that'll wrap it up for us. For me, Mangone, Hoop, and AP, we will see you guys later.